Yeah, this is another one. Following on from Elagabalus we had last time. This is the Marquis de Custine. The Marquis de Custine, or to give him his proper name, as like Elagabalus, another person with a really long name, Astolphe Louis Léonard Marquis de Custine, was born in Mideville, France, on the 18th of March, 1790. He died aged 67 in Paris on the 25th of September, 1879. He was born to nobility. Both his father and his grandfather sympathized with the French Revolution, but both were beheaded anyway because the French Revolution really did not like noblemen, and as Marquis, that is a noble title. So he was a noble. His mother, as it says there, was imprisoned, but avoided the guillotine. She kept her head. Um, don't worry, this isn't the last you'll hear of his mother in this story. He was best known for his travel writing, in particular his book, which is just about visible behind my head, La Russie, on whatever 1839 is in French, which was in fact published in 1843, not 1893, because it took him so damn long to write and publish the thing. In 1829, he married a woman named Léontine Saint-Simon de Courtomé, following the wishes of his mother. They had a child together named Enguerrand, and Léontine would tragically die aged 20 in 1823 while pregnant with a second child. However, even though he had two children, while after his wedding, was like openly gay and still went on to have another kid with his wife, which I don't get. But anyway, he would live openly with a male lover who he was still like close with his wife, just not romantic. I don't think romantic. And during the marriage, he met an Englishman named Edward St. Bard, who would move in with Custine and his wife, remaining Custine's life companion, which must have been so awkward for the wife. I feel so bad for her. And now this is the bit where it gets heavy. Because on the 18th of October, 1824, Custine was found unconscious in the mud outside of Paris. He was stripped of the weight and he'd been beaten and robbed. The attack had been carried out by a group of soldiers, with one of whom Custine had allegedly, and I must stress allegedly, as far as I'm aware, these claims were never proven, had attempted to have have a stand with, um, have a have a fling with. As I say, the exact reason the attack was never proven, it was more than likely just prejudice, in my opinion. Um, News of the incident quickly spread around France, and from then until his death from a stroke in 1857, he was I can't remember who it was, but this was someone who was quoted directly on his Wikipedia page when I was doing my initial research for this. Said that he was France's most notorious homosexual, which what a title that is to hold, by the way. And his diplomatic career also got cut short by this incident. And a few years later, in 1826, he had a horrible year. His several family friends died, as well as his then 4-year-old son, Enguerrand, and his mother, who that is a horrible year to have. I genuinely feel really bad for this man. And then in 1843, his work La Russie on 1839 was published, which he'd written while traveling around Russia. It was widely read in England, France, and Germany, though it was banned in Russia. I think it was only unbanned under, I want to say Stalin. I may be wrong on that, but it was it was unbanned within the lifetimes of people who may be watching this stream right now. It was banned in Russia because it was about Russia and it was about sort of the life in Russia. Like it wasn't sort of, the glamorous world of the nobles. It was here is Russia as I saw it while I was traveling, which included some of the not so pleasant bits. It included the dirty backwater streets and all that. Now, the final slide. What can we learn from this? Because all of these, I'm hopefully going to do more of these as well. But all of these, I like to have sort of a lesson to take away. He lived and died around 200 years ago. Many of the issues faced by Custine are still hauntingly relevant. Prejudice and prejudice-fueled violence are still painfully widespread. I mean, on the basis of both race, religion, sexuality, gender. Um, Although homosexuality in France uh, had been decriminalized by the French Revolution in 1791, so a few years after Custine was born. Openly gay people were still very harshly prejudiced against. Uh, the Nazi puppet Vichy regime recriminalized homosexuality in France in 1942, and it would remain that way even after the Nazis were defeated in 45. It would only be re-legalized in 1981. So it would take 190 years between the two times it was legalized in France. This is not gay marriage. This is being gay. Like for example, the UK, we decriminalized being gay in 1967. We're only in England at least. It's still at different times in England and Scotland and Wales and Northern Ireland. But in England, gay marriage was only legalized, I think, 2013. I might be wrong on that. This goes to show progress is not always linear, and the fight for not only gay but also women's racial equality and other forms of LGBTQ plus rights may never truly be won, as possibility for regression is always present. In literature, you see The Handmaid's Tale, where a organized coup leads to Gilead taking over the US government and instilling their very strict anti-female regime. 1984, which one of the classic works of dystopian literature, where even thought against the party is a crime, and Fahrenheit 451, where books get burned because knowledge is dim. And even though these are literature, they are still reminders of what happens as soon as you stop fighting for your rights. The moment you let someone take control, we're seeing this in America, the moment you let someone take control, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. There there is not like you have to keep fighting for equality. Because until true equality is achieved, which may never be possible, if you ever stop fighting, you can always be taken advantage of. And that has been the Marquis de Custine slideshow. Thank you all very much for watching. Class dismissed.